2 and he's 6'4". He fights with missiles and with spears. He's all of 31 and he's only 17. He's been a soldier for 1,000 years. He's a Catholic, a Hindu, an atheist, a Jain.
MFSO turned into the largest organization of military families speaking out to end a war in the history of this country. I'm so honored and humbled to be here with these courageous and amazing members of this panel who I'll introduce shortly. Our panel focuses on one set of the victims of unjust war, those who were sent over to be used as cannon fodder for oil markets and dreams of empire. We understand deeply that the children, women, and men of Iraq and Afghanistan are many times over victims of the illegal, immoral foreign policy of our nation. Our hearts have broken, along with Terry's, from the unconscionable toll of death and destruction, and we hope to discuss with you how we can collectively bring this dark chapter of our history to a close and work to repair the damage at home and in the Middle East. A little history to set the context for the personal stories you're about to hear. In fall of 2002 is when the drumbeats for war in Iraq were getting deafening, and we noticed that all of those who were saying we got to go to war weren't going anywhere, nor were their loved ones. It was our loved ones who were being sent off to what we called armed globalization, the next step on the continuum of corporate globalization. At Military Family Speak Out's first national press conference in January of 2003, Charlie and I spoke of Charlie's son, my stepson, who had deployed with the Marines headed for Iraq. We said we didn't want him to be wounded or die in a war that should never happen, and we didn't want him to kill or wound others. That would kill a part of him and us. After the bombs dropped in March of 2003, the membership of Military Families Speak Out instantly doubled, and we were all in close touch trying to formulate plans to end the occupation. We shared many things with each other, including the cadences many of our loved ones learned in their military training, and I'll share one of those. The chorus is left, right, kill, 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 left, right, you know I will. And the verses: burn the town, kill the people, you'll feel better when you do. Go into the supermarket where all the grannies shop, pull out my machete, I begin to chop. Go into the church house where everyone prays, fill the place with napalm where the burning people lay. Go into the schoolyard where all the kiddies play, pull out my Uzi and I begin to spray. What we learned from the history of this country and from Vietnam was an equation. The equation was racism plus dehumanization equals atrocities. In May and June of 2003 is when we first started hearing about suicide attempts in our loved ones' units in Iraq, along with stories like this one. We were putting large amounts of laxatives in the prisoners' food in places that we learned the names of long before the rest of the country, Abu Ghraib. We asked one of our members, Stan Goff, a retired Special Forces military member, to write something that we could give our loved ones and other service members, and he wrote a piece called Hold On to Your Humanity, an open letter to GIs in Iraq, and I'm going to read you an excerpt. Here's what Stan wrote, and he talked about Vietnam. We had to dehumanize our victims before we did the things we did. We knew deep down that what we were doing was wrong, so they became dinks and gooks, just like Iraqis are now being transformed into ragheads and hajis. People had to be reduced to here before they could be lynched. No difference. We convinced ourselves we had to kill them to survive, even when that wasn't true. But something inside us told us that so long as they were human beings with the same intrinsic value we had as human beings, we were not allowed to burn their homes and barns, kill their animals, and sometimes kill them. So we used these words, these new names, to reduce them, to strip them of their essential humanity, and we could do things like adjust artillery fire onto the cries of a baby. Until that baby was silenced, though. And here's the important thing to understand. That baby never surrendered her humanity. I did, we did. That's the thing you might not get until it's too late. When you take away the humanity of another, you kill your own humanity. You attack your own soul because it's standing in the way. I can tell you without fear of legal consequence that you are never under any obligation to hate Iraqis. You are never under any obligation to give yourself over to racism and nihilism and the thirst to kill for the sake of killing, and you are never under any obligation to let them drive out the last vestiges of your capacity to see and tell the truth to yourself and the world. You do not owe them your souls. Come home safe and come home sane. The people who love you and who have loved you all your lives are waiting here, and we want you to come back and be able to look at us in the face. Don't leave your souls in that dust. They're like another corpse. Hold on to your humanity. As the suicide rates grew among service members, an official story developed. Here it is from 2007. With suicide rates in the military now skyrocketing, the Army's top psychiatrist, Colonel Elspeth Ritchie, says this has more to do with failed personal relationships, legal and financial problems. Families are getting tired. Therefore, sometimes they are more irritable. Sometimes they don't take care of each other the way they should and are not as nurturing as they should be. 2009. Suicides have risen as the Army's occupational tempo has increased, with soldiers making 2, 3, and 4 tours in the war zone. This has prompted some to believe that repeated deployments are a principal driver behind suicides among active duty and reserve troops. But the manager of the Army Suicide Prevention Program, Walter Morales, said no one can yet make that connection between frequent deployments and suicides. 2011. Major General Raymond Carpenter, acting director of the Army National Guard, told reporters in January that the National Guard ranks over 50% of those who committed suicide had some sort of partner problem that they were dealing with, whether it was marriage, divorce, or girlfriend, boyfriend, that kind of thing. And then this from 2014, because this is where it's all going, folks. Read you the headline. Could financial planners help stem the rate of military suicides? In the Journal. Statistics from the Defense Department include financial trouble along with mental illness, family problems, legal issues, and substance abuse as top factors in military suicides. So there's a whole move now of family planner industry to help stem the suicides. With all this as a backdrop, here up close and very personal from a group of incredible military and Gold Star families who have pushed beyond the limits of their own pain to tell their stories and galvanize support to change a system that is not caring for returned service members and to simultaneously help build the movement to prevent and end unjust wars and occupations. I want to introduce who's on the panel, and they're going to tell you each their stories. First, we're going to hear from Joyce and Kevin Lucy, the parents of Jeffrey Michael Lucy. He served in Iraq in 2003 in the Marine Reserves, and he took his life on June 22nd, 2004. He was 23 years old. Tracy Eiswert, her husband, Scott Walter Eiswert, served with the Tennessee National Guard in 2004-2005 in Iraq. He took his life on May 16th, 2008. I believe he was age 31. Is that correct? And Marcia Westbrook is the mother of Tyler Milam Westbrook. He served in Special Forces Airborne, which is the Army, out of Fort Carson, Colorado. He was in Iraq 2010, 2011. He took his life on August 28, 2015. He was 31. Marcia has 2 other sons in the military. And Tim Kaler is the father of Ryan Kaler. He served in the Army, 2 combat tours in Iraq. He returned in 2007. He has been suffering with PTSD and traumatic brain injury. He's among the countless walking wounded from the physical and moral injuries of this war.
Por eso es que cuando canto, canto lo que el pueblo siente. Soy del pueblo, pueblo soy, y a donde me lleve el pueblo voy.
Como cantar es mi oficio,
yo canto el esfuerzo duro de construir el futuro con alegre sacrificio. Soy del pueblo, pueblo soy, y a donde me lleve el pueblo voy. Lo recojo y al momento se lo devuelvo cantando. Soy del pueblo, pueblo soy, y a donde me lleve el pueblo voy.
lo poco que doy le ofrezco con alegría y encanto. Al pueblo le doy mi canto, porque al pueblo pertenezco.
Soy del pueblo, pueblo soy, y a donde me lleve el pueblo voy.
Con alegría serena canto lo que el pueblo siente, y canto porque el